Hey Ravens fans, it is Steelers week. I don't have to tell you anything else other than that, especially where the Ravens are right now. If you told me 3, 4 weeks ago that this game would actually mean something to the Ravens, minus the fact that it's just another rivalry game, I would have said you're crazy because 3, 4 weeks ago, no one thought this team would be 7-5 with a shot to at least make the playoffs, with a good shot to make the playoffs. And the defense is playing extremely well. The Ravens did lose Jimmy Smith for the year with an Achilles tear, so that's going to be a huge loss. But the next man up philosophy the Ravens did draft Marlon Humphrey with the #1 draft pick this year, so he's going to have to step up. But that does make the nickel position slot vulnerable because you're going to probably have to either put Marcus Kennedy there, or you're going to have to put Ladarius Webb. Now, Ladarius Webb is no spring chicken anymore. He's not as fast as he used to be. He gets turned around a lot by receivers when he's covering them. He's been doing it for the last 2 years. He's just not good in coverage anymore. The Ravens are kind of, I guess, just didn't have enough bodies out there. Tavon Young getting hurt and other corners, especially with Webb out, that is going to be with Webb in and with Smith out, that's going to be a big hole for the Ravens defense to fill. Now, on the offensive side of the ball, the Ravens did play well this past game. Flacco was throwing the deep ball very well. I'm not sure. I have to look back at some of the highlights, but I think Flacco played without the knee brace this week, so he looked a lot more comfortable playing. He was stepping into his throws. He was setting his feet. He didn't miss Mike Wallace on the deep throws he threw to him. He threw a nice back shoulder pass to Mike Wallace, throwing to a spot where only his receiver could get to it. So that was a good throw. So it was nice to see. The only issue is, the thing as Ravens fans we have is consistency. Can this Ravens team consistently do this for the next 4 weeks, including this Sunday night coming up? And I think that's the fear. Is we've seen them with the Dolphins game. We saw them play well. We saw them play in decent, I think, in the Green Bay game and stuff like that. But they're going to need to be able to score over 20, at least 3 touchdowns to win most football games in the NFL. You got to put up at least 21, 24 points, whatever. They've beat most teams, especially with the defense that they have. And when the offense gets the ball, you're just like, I don't know if they can do it. I don't think they can drive 90 yards down the field and score touchdowns. Now, the good thing is, though, the defense has been a turnover machine. The Ravens lead the league in turnovers, takeaways this season, especially in interceptions. No other team, I think, is even close to getting as many interceptions as the Ravens right now. It seems like every game they're getting at least 2. Suggs has, I think, about either 10.5 or 11 sacks now in his 15th year in the NFL. I think it's 15 years. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it's 15. I can't remember. But 35, 37, whatever years old now at this point. He's playing like he's 22 again. You got guys like Matt Judon stepping up. Willie Henry is stepping up. Mosley's still doing his thing. Marlon Humphrey, even though in that Lions game got beat on a few plays, did come back in the next drive, was able to get an interception that led the Ravens offense on there to score a touchdown. Alex Collins on offense has become a stud running back. Who would have thought that, when the Ravens signed him off the Seattle practice squad, that he would be not only the Ravens starting running back, but one of the top rushers in the NFL at Week 14 this season. So it's been a really, really wild year as far as football is concerned. With you got the Chargers playing well right now. The Bills are falling apart. The Chiefs are falling apart. The Raiders seem like they're not going to be able to pull it out. But the Ravens are in it, 7-5. Right now, I think the Ravens are down 7 points against the Steelers. That's a big, big margin. Usually, these are the type of games where the Vegas bet, the guys in Vegas pretty much, it's a 3-point game either way, home or away, because of how these guys play. But I just don't think they trust the Ravens offense to come out and score more than 20-something points on the Steelers going into this game on Sunday. Now the Steelers, regrettably have lost Ryan Shazier. He made a tackle and he led with his head, and it kind of compressed back into his neck and caused a spinal compression, which caused loss of feeling and motion in his legs. And, you saw when he turned his body over. It was a very scary sight, a very real and sobering sight that you see with NFL players. That this stuff is real. People complain about these guys are millionaires, and why they complain. Like, a lot of these guys, when they go out there, they don't know. When you're playing a collision sport, you really don't know if that next hit is going to be your last. If you're going to injure somebody, if you yourself are going to injure, whether your career is over or could end up causing yourself paralysis. And that Ryan Shazier injury, it was a very sobering reality to, I think, a lot of fans and football players, that you are always one play away from either the end of your career or not just your career, but maybe quality of life, for how many years you have left on this earth. So they're going to be without Ryan Shazier, and they'll be without Juju Smith-Schuster, who laid a crackback block on Vontaze Burfict. Now, a lot of people saw the video of Juju was talking to the media, and you could hear Antonio Brown in the background yelling, "Karma, karma." How dirty these teams have played. These guys that really hurt each other. Now, the Ravens, Steelers, there's bad blood between them, but I think it's more respect between the two teams of how they've been winning franchises over the last 20 years, and of course the Steelers have a lot longer. So they developed a lot of respect for one another because they're winning teams, and they try to hold themselves to a certain standard. But it just appears like the Cincinnati Bengals especially headhunt. When they drafted Vontaze Burfict, he created a new kind of I want to say is character for the defense, where they now are headhunting. They're going out making cheap shots on guys. They're hitting guys below the belt, and taunting, all kinds of stuff. It's a certain level a rivalry game has, where you now are starting to see players actively trying to hurt the other team. Now, you go out and tackle a guy, you just hit him hard and it's clean hit, that's whatever. But when you have a guy that's running down the field, he can't see you, and you hit him from behind, or you crack back block him, or you pin his head against the ground and punch him in the face, that kicking him and stuff, that kind of stuff leads bad blood and guys getting put on carts. And one of those games where you don't even want to put the two teams on the field because you're afraid the guys are going to end up hurting themselves, hurting each other. So they're playing without Juju Smith and Ryan Shazier. They're very depleted on defenses with Joe Hayden also out. They ended up signing him. Thought he was going to be a really good component for them with a struggling secondary, and he's out again with the injury. I think he's towards the end of his career as well. So they're going to be struggling at cornerback as well. So it's very similar again with these two teams. Jimmy Smith out and Joe Hayden out for them. Offensively, there's no comparison right now. The Steelers have probably one of the best offenses in the AFC with Antonio Brown alone. You got Le'Veon Bell back there, one of the best running backs, especially delayed running styles in the NFL. They don't have a Heath Miller type and Jesse James, but he's capable of making those third down catches when he needs to. You still got Martavis Bryant, who can stretch the field. Eli Roth, I'm not sure he's still with the team or not, but I think he's still there, so he may be activated for this game with Juju out. But those are the two weapons. Those are the three weapons you got. You got Le'Veon Bell, you got Antonio Brown, and you got Martavis Bryant. Now, the key for the Ravens winning these football games against the Steelers is shutting down at least Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown. With Jimmy Smith out, that's going to be a tall order to fulfill, and especially with how Antonio Brown likes to. He finds a way to get open down the field with Ben Roethlisberger's escapability and be able to extend plays, and the kind of rapport he has with Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown knows how to get open and find those open spots in the middle of the defense to make plays and make those catches. So there's going to really need to be a concerted effort by the defense, maybe to just look. Antonio Brown's going to do what he's going to do. Maybe you keep Eric Weddle up there over the top to help out on Marlon Humphrey or Brandon Carr, whoever's decided covering him. And you got to trust your linebackers and your defensive line to stop Le'Veon Bell. You got to trust them to stay home. Because they say that delayed run, because he makes his money by making guys miss. So when he delays that run and guys run past him, because he's not at the spot that they thought he was going to be at, and then he just runs right past him. So it's going to be very important for the Ravens just to stay at home with Le'Veon Bell. He's not a burst runner. 19 gets the open field, so he's going to sit there on the line, dance around, and wait a bit. So they got to stay at home and just play their gaps. Play their gaps. Don't let him get anything more than 2 or 3 yards. And if he's only getting 2 or 3 yards, that's not going to kill you. You'll deal with that all day. But if he starts breaking those 20-yard chunks and 25 yards, and he can catch the ball on the outside and run down the field, they're going to have a long day for the Ravens. Now, on the offensive side for the Ravens, they're going to have to really focus on getting the deep ball down the field. They got to score early. They have to do what they did against the Detroit Lions. The Ravens play better. The Ravens play a lot better when they're ahead. It's going to be very important for Flacco to get the confidence that he has right now with Mike Wallace. Mike Wallace, has been getting the ball lately, and with the speed Mike Wallace has, I said without Joe Hayden in there, he's going to be able to get down the field. And that's it. That secondary is not good. Without Ryan Shazier as well, the pass rush isn't going to be as explosive. Now they got to worry about T.J. Watt. He is a rookie, but I think Stanley and Austin Howard be able to handle him. But the key is, I think the offensive line's got to do what they did last week. They got to keep the pocket clean for Flacco, and give him some time. They got to give him some time. Flacco's going to have to continue what he did and throw to more receivers, Max Williams, throw to Ricard, throw to the running backs, throw to wide receivers, whoever's open, you got to throw to him. And the running game is going to be key. I think the key for the Ravens is this: if they can score enough points early and maybe get a key turnover early in the first half, and can go up by 14 points and try to run the football effectively, that would be a good defense for keeping Ben Roethlisberger and his offense on the field. The longer you keep that Steelers potent offense off the field, the better chance you have of winning this football game. So that's going to be key for running the football. And this is time for January Joe to show up. I know it's only December, but it's time for January Joe to show up. Now, this is not an essential game as far as the Ravens are concerned. They necessarily have to win, but you want to win this game. The Ravens have not beat besides the Lions this past week, a playoff caliber type team all season. So they're going to come into this game arguably against the number 1 seed in the AFC, or I guess the Patriots, number 1, number 2 seed in those two teams. They want to go in there and say, look, man, if we have a real shot at making a run of the playoffs, we got to beat the Steelers. If we go in and lay another dead like we did earlier this season against Pittsburgh, we'll get past that first round where we got to play either the Titans or the Jags, and we got to play either the Patriots or the Steelers in that second round. And if we can't beat the Steelers in this week at their house, it's going to be really tough going into that last part of the season, especially when you got to play teams like the Bengals, the Colts, and the Browns. So, looking at that, I think the Ravens they're going in on a 3-game win streak, while the Steelers, they were struggling a little bit, the Ryan Shazier hit, and struggling in the first half. Most been struggling in the first half for quite a few games now in the last few weeks. So I think the Ravens are going to take advantage of that. They can't allow them to be close in the end of the second half. I think if it's close at the end of the second half, the Steelers are going to find a way to pull it out. I just do. They've been playing better football all year than the Ravens have. The Ravens seem to be playing better football right now than they have all season. But the Ravens have to jump out to an early lead. Maybe 14-3, something like that, 14-3. They can be up by that much. And key again with this game, Steelers Ravens, is turnovers. The team that turns the ball over last, not first, last. Because the earlier it happens, it doesn't really affect you too bad. But the later it happens in the game, especially with how these teams play, the more crucial that turnover is. So it'll be very important for the Ravens to make sure that they protect the football in this game, and if they can, force a late turnover in this game to try to keep the momentum on their side. So I think my prediction for this game is going to be, I'm going to say 24. I'm going to say 24-23. I think the Ravens will be up 21-20. I mean, the Steelers are up. Yeah, I think it will be like 21 Ravens, and I don't know, the Steelers will find a way to win the football game or something like that. It'll be like 21-20, and then the Steelers will go in and kick a field goal. Or maybe end up 23-21, something like that. But I think just because, like I said, I haven't seen them be consistent all year, so I love my Ravens and everything, but this is the kind of game, like I said, it's not necessarily a necessity for them to win if they keep their wild card spot with the Bills falling off and other teams. But with they said with the Chargers coming up behind them, you still got the Raiders. Still could find a way to sneak in there as well. The Bills could find a way back. The Jets, are still in there. So I want the Ravens to win real bad, but I just think I think the Steelers are going to pull it out. I hope I'm wrong, but I think it's going to be 24-21 Steelers in this game. So I think it'll be a tight game. I think Flacco plays well, but it could be one of those late turnover type situations that cost the Ravens to lose this football game. So that's one of those spiel. Please subscribe to my videos, like them, comment on them, share them with your friends, and hopefully the Ravens can pull it out. But we'll see you guys. I'll do my pregame. I will do a pregame video since it's Sunday night. I'll do a halftime of the hammock and postgame on the hammock as well, with all my takes on the football game and see where the Ravens are going into Week 15. But anyway, that's my video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.